Hello everybody, Dark Skeleton here, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at 3 new Whispers of the Old Gods Hearthstone cards, including the new Priest Legendary, which is kind of an interesting card. Herald Volazj, or however you say his name, is a 6 mana 5/5 battlecry summon a 1/1 copy of each of your other minions. So some ideas that come to mind would be Ragnaros. Okay, you get a 1/1 Ragnaros. It deals 8 damage to a random enemy target, which is actually pretty good. You summon another Sylvanas Windrunner, implying you already have one on the field because you have to. So then you end up with 2 Sylvanas or 2 Steel Random Enemy Minion effects. But in both of those cases, Herald Volazj would be more of a win more card, wouldn't it? Because if you have one Sylvanas on the board and it's stuck around for a turn, or you have a Ragnaros that's stuck around for a turn, then you've pretty much won the game already, haven't you? Um, Especially as a priest deck, where basically you are playing the most control-y of control styles. Priest often wins those late game fatigue wars. So, is Herald Volazj even necessary in many cases? You could kind of compare it a little bit to Confessor Palestress, where it's like, okay, you get it out on the board, and then it summons a random legendary, or in this case, it copies one of your own legendaries. And at that point, if your opponent's out of answers, you've already won. Um, but I think Confessor Palestress maybe is even better than Herald Volazj, simply because it doesn't require a board setup. You don't have to have a Ragnaros stick to the board. You don't have to have a Sylvanas stick to the board. Um, so in that case, Herald Volazj just becomes very situational and then more of a win more card. So obviously, that's just 2 examples. We'd have to consider what other possibilities exist. And maybe a more practical idea would just be to copy Death Rattle minions. So you'd be copying cards like Loot Hoarder, and then the second Loot Hoarder is going to be a 1/1 that draws you a card. Or, I mean, Sludge Belcher would work for Wild Mode still. Getting a 1/1 Sludge Belcher that summons a 1/2 taunt, that's not too bad. Uh, but yeah, either death rattles or things that do stuff on the turn you summon Herald Volazj. That's kind of the test of a big legendary. Does it do stuff when it comes out? If you copied a 1/1 Ysera, that wouldn't be too bad. It would be like you'd get 2 dream cards. But that's just another one more examples. The most practical idea may honestly just be go for copying cheap death rattle minions and rake in the benefits from that, like drawing free cards. Um, that said, I don't know if that's good enough to construct a deck where Herald Volazj really works well. Would you swap cards out for Loot Hoarder just so that this guy can work? I don't think so. So honestly, maybe there'll be some new cards in the set that play around more with this mechanic, but I think Sylvanas or Ragnaros or cards like that is too much greed, too much win more. So think about it, definitely. I do see the potential in this card, but you certainly have to have the right cards in play for this guy to be any good. Very interesting legendary, though. Okay, and then we have the Forbidden Healing, which has been out for a few days now. I didn't really want to comment on it because it's basically the same as the other Forbidden spells. Who knows if every single class will get a Forbidden magic spell. They might. But in any case, the Paladin's version, Forbidden Healing, spend all your mana, heal for twice that amount. So in theory, it's a 10 mana heal for 20. It's a 1 mana heal for 2, or 2 mana heal for 4. And what I like more about this card over the other ones is that there are a lot of cases where you can heal a minion, but if you healed it with something like Lay on Hands or even a Holy Light, you'd be overdoing it. So perhaps the flexibility of this card, being able to use it as like heal a minion for 2 or 4 HP, which is usually all they need. And then you'd be able to trade that minion in with another minion, and it was a pretty cheap spell. It was like 1 or 2 mana, and you got to use it to make a good trade. That could actually be pretty good. On the flip side, you can also use it, just dump all the mana in your churn, like you're up against a freeze mage, and they're about to burst you. So you just spend your churn healing up to full for heal for 20. And that could basically shut decks like that down immediately, especially if they have no board to throw extra pressure on you. Freeze Mage tends to be just burst from the hand. But if you have the counter to that, that's pretty good. So as a healing spell, I don't think Holy Light's going to see any play. It hasn't for quite a while. I mean, there were the Healed decks, but those never really had too much popularity, and I don't think since like the beta anyway. Uh, but Forbidden Healing, I could see it being pretty viable, actually. Just simply because of its flexibility, being able to use it kind of like as a Holy Smite equivalent of a heal, or as a, oh, you just dumped all your burn on me, I'm going to Reno Jackson with this card rather than play Reno Jackson in my deck. Or maybe you play this and Reno Jackson, if you're really trying to heal your opponent to death, effectively. And as some people were commenting on like Hearthstone, I saw, it's a good thing this isn't a priest card, but it could be if you get it with Thoughtsteal. Yeah, maybe Thoughtsteal will have a comeback, who knows. Okay, well, I think that's about it for that card, so let's take a look at the third card, the Infested Tauren. Obviously, it's supposed to be kind of a new version of the Tauren Warrior, and this version is clearly better. The original Tauren Warrior, a 3-mana, 2/3 taunt, enrage, gain +3 attack or whatever. It was terrible. It was never played. Monty Berserker better now, almost every way. But this guy is basically like the new Sludge Belcher, I guess you could say. Taunt, Death Rattle, summon a 2/2 slime. And 2 notes, I believe that means that the slime does not have taunt, so only the main body has taunt. This could actually be a card you could play with Herald Volazj. Basically, you get a 1/1 that summons a 2/2 as its Death Rattle, so that could be basically a 6-mana 8/8 worth of stats, but not BGHable. That could be pretty good, actually. Yeah, so not overpowered. I mean, we're only looking at 4 or 5 of stats here. So would it be played? Yeah, hard to say. I think in more Death Rattle focused decks, it could be pretty decent. To note, Baron Rivendare is no longer a playable card in standard mode because it was part of the Naxxramas set. So you would need other cards like Herald Volazj to make this constructed viable. I think it would be pretty decent in an arena, though. Just kind of a sticky minion, something that might be able to trade decently, at least average in terms of card value. Who knows if this will actually see constructed play? Because the thing about Sludge Belcher was that not only did it give you 2 taunts, but stat-wise, Sludge Belcher was overstatted. You would get 4/7 of stats for 5 mana, where this guy only gives you 4/5 of stats for 4 mana, which is just a Chillwind Yeti spread across 2 minions, which in some cases is better, in some cases is worse. That said, it does have taunt, so interesting. Could be pretty good. I think this is the kind of card you'd have to play around with a little bit. Like it'll block an opponent's attack, and then you can just take the slime and make the trade that you would have if you were just using a Sinjin Shieldmaster. So yeah, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad. It's just not super OP. So we'll have to see. For sure. Yeah, hair. Kind of sweaty. All right, so that's it for today. Interesting cards to look at, particularly the Herald. Let me know what you think. Are you going to build a deck with Herald Volazj, perhaps with all these Death Rattle minions? In any case, I've been Dog Skeleton. Keep me in mind for the next video where I talk about more Whispers of the Old Gods cards. And until then, I'll see you for my next video.